Hello and welcome back to the She Gallery Show. Thank you for being with us. It is August and we have two very special guests with us today. Thank you so much for being with us. Today we have She Gallery member Gabriel Galvan and gracias. And we also have Mariana Lopez with INLAKESH. INLAKESH, and that is one of the organizations that is working in collaboration with other organizations here in Chicago, hand in hand with border resistance, and we look forward to hearing more about that and what you can do to help. There's 9 detention centers here in Chicago. I don't know if you guys know that. I didn't know that until recently, so thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, and thank you for creating the space to talk about that and other people, coming together to do work to help end that.
Thank you, Ariana. Thank you so much, Mariana. And thank you for watching. You are live with us on CAN TV, and we always thank CAN TV for allowing this platform that we continue to give platform to others. And you are truly with us today, so you can call us and join this conversation at any point during the segment at 312-738-1060. Today, we are going to start off and remind you that you are again with us. And that you can always contact us at sharinghisenergygallery.net, and you can email us, connect with us, and you could always give us a call. And I also want to let you know that when you do visit our website, you will also find our members. Here we have Che Cardona, myself, my brother Nicholas Diaz, our technical engineer, and here we move on to Gabriel Galvan, who's with us today. Born in Nuevo Laredo, in Mexico, came here since the age of 15, self-taught, and more here on our website. But you have him here live with us today with some of his beautiful artwork. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about your background, Gabriel?
Well,
a nice shirt and outfit, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes.
I can't tell you what the body that came with it is. 'Cause, just kidding. I grew up in Chicago. I graduated from Benito Juarez High School.
Here in Pilsen?
Here in Pilsen, yes. And I didn't start art until later in life, with my kids. My son Marco, he was 10 years old. He's into Legos and Bionicles, and we're building stuff. And that's how I got started,
How old were you at about that time?
Well, he's 18 now, so.
Okay, so you're helping out your son, and you started learning that you're an artist?
So, start off, I'm like, you know what, we're buying these Lego kits. They cost anywhere from 30 to 40 to 150 bucks, depending on what you buy, And so we did that for a while, and I'm like, you know what? Look at this stuff, we could just somehow start, you see juice bottles, soda bottles, or anything, and that's how I got started. We started creating our own thing, with my son Marco. Thank you, Monkey. He's like, you didn't call me Monkey, did you?
Yeah, he did.
So,
con cariño.
Con cariño. So we got started and started building things here and there. Started with plastic, there's a juice bottle, leftover toy parts, anything and everything that I could find, glue and, put it all together, spray paint, and, come up with something like that. Why not,
Beautiful. So Gabriel Galvan started off with She Gallery, kind of funny. He needed to do some community service because he got a speeding ticket.
Speeding
ticket, and one of the beauties of having a nonprofit is being able to provide community service hours. So Gabriel started off with us, helping us promote, and he helped us promote for Souls Rise, which was a fundraiser that we had 1 year ago at the Mexican Fine Arts Museum. And he enjoyed doing this work so much that he said, you know what, I want to keep working with you. And here came out these creations, and we said, wow, this is amazing. So we had the pleasure of also inviting Gabriel Galvan not only to be a member with She Gallery, where he continues to grow, but also to showcase with us. So one of the first art exhibitions that we had where he was able to showcase with us was in September, and that was the Show of Shows and that was held over here in Bridgeport, Cece's Art Garage, where she invited many galleries that had worked with her before from the neighborhood and that space to be part of this Expo Chicago After Hours. So many of you are familiar with Expo Chicago, so we were very proud to be able to be part of this great exhibition, and so proud to be able to have Gabriel there. So here we're going to show you, and we're going to have Gabriel walk through some of his pieces. Here we have, oops, where'd that go? Here we have, that was from that art show. Why don't you talk to us about these pieces as we scroll through?
Well, you know, you go hunting for parts, anything that looks interesting, you know, anything mechanical, gears, you know, the hunt is part of the journey is great, you know. You discover these things that, you know, they're obsolete, nobody uses anymore, you know. Undesirable goods anymore that, you know, it's just give some use, you know. But this one, you know, bicycle parts, you know, there's a tea kettle on top, bicycle parts. This one, my mechanic, he asked me to make some for him. He asked me to make him a couch. I'm like,
Look at that.
I'm not in the furniture business, you know. And like, you can make anything. Like,
And this was fun. Sorry, not to cut you off, but look at that. Ah!
This one, yes, a bunch of scrap parts, and you know, give it some a second life, you know, second opportunity like that. But,
Let's go again. Here we go back to one of the pieces, a few of the pieces that we had at Cece's Art Garage.
right, yeah, that's right there is 8mm projector
That works.
That works.
Amazing.
And add-on parts, bicycle, you know, that's a juice bottle with plastic parts and broken toys and stuff like that. It's
Do
a
you
motor.
know what you're creating before you create it, or is this something that you find within the parts as you are in your hunt?
By looking at the shapes, you know, looking at the shapes, you could tell what this could be. This fits here. There's a lot of problem solving. When you start a piece, everything's a problem solving, you know. This fits here, this does not fit here. How am I going to put this and that? But so anyway, there's a seat right there, and you know, he's like, there you go, turn it into a couch, you know. So right there, same thing. It's all metal parts, and you know, I could see that the head, it could be this, it could be that, and sometimes it doesn't. You know, sometimes it just sits there for a while, for a long time, and then just one day you say, you know, this is gonna be something like this. Yeah.
Upcycle, recycle, that is amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And it also exercises your brain as you're thinking through these processes and allowing them to become real creations.
Yes.
Now, you took this from helping your son into buying very like, you were like, well, I need a welder, and it was like kind of like a cheaper welder, and then at some point you were like, I need to invest in something more, and you started taking this a little bit more serious. Aside from exhibiting with us, you also had or were part of art exhibitions at in Elmhurst and Lamont and other areas here in Illinois, and we really are glad that you have continued this and look forward to more collaborations also with our members. One of the things that we do is we have monthly art critiques. And recently, I was very fortunate enough to be able to collaborate with Gabriel on one of those pieces that we'll share with you at the end of the year, actually. Next month, next week, we'll be presenting Diana Mendez, who's also one of our members, who's an on-site, who started off as an on-site clinician, and turns out she's a closet artist, too, so we love that. And it's really, you know, something that we're very proud of, so thank you so much for sticking with us. Is there anything else that you would like to share about your work or give some words of advice?
Well, I believe everybody's an artist. Everybody could create something. You know, we just get sidetracked by the everyday life. You know, by the jobs, the careers, the kids, the wives, and everything else. But I think there was an artist put inside of each one of us, and it's just a matter. You know, it's up to us to, let it come out and let it, if you had to start with your crayons, sure, why not?
Set your inner
Be
child
safe
free.
and start with crayons, and move on to other parts. Yes, I did started. I'm not a welder, but I weld. I had to teach myself because I didn't go to school for welding. Nobody had the time to teach me. I just went and spent the money. You start with something affordable, not too good, and you move on to spend a little more money and buy a better equipment, and that's where I'm at. I think I get better by the, even though still burn stuff and cut my sleeve on fire a couple of times. My wife's like, "Dude, you're on fire." I'm like, "Oh, you
Literally.
like it?" No, really, you're on fire. Look at your sleeve. I'm like, "Oh, I get it."
Vienen los bomberos.
I thought I was good with my stuff. No, she meant I was literally on fire. My shirt was on fire. But that's how things go. But sometimes right away what it's going to be. Sometimes you don't know until later. There used to be a tea kettle, and you put parts to it. Forks and anything onto it, and make it look like something else. But yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
What's your favorite piece that you've created and why?
Oh, I do have several. There's one of my favorites. There's a blowfish that turned out to that. And my daughter, she said, if you ever sell that piece, you don't have a daughter after that. She said, so she already owns that piece, and every time I'm proud to show it. And it's simple. And as I made mistakes, I discovered that I was burning that, but actually it became part of the. This is actually how it kind of looks. A blowfish eventually is supposed to have that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I love it.
one of
I
my
was noticing the texture, and I love the fin. I don't know if it could be shown on TV, but
Thank you.
I love the fin.
Yeah, there was some mistake burning stuff, and then wait a minute,
Why
that
don't you
actually
pick it up
looks
and set it over
good.
here?
Yeah.
Right.
You
Let's
can
see.
move this. Set it here.
And so
I want to look it up.
there you go.
Let the camera look at it.
You see?
Oh, hi, blowfish. Now you could see the forks sticking out, y la pala de cocinar, the cooking utensils, and more of the details and the screws. And you will find this type of interesting materials that you welded together to make these shapes, almost like looking at clouds. When you're looking at these shapes and then creating them into something.
Right.
That's
So
really, really awesome.
that's how it turned out, and I'm happy with it. My daughter likes it, and so. But that was a fun part to do.
So
Just to
you came from Mexico, from Juarez to Chicago, and at that time this was in 1985.
In 1985, came to Chicago from Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas, Mexico.
And in 1985, when you came here, you were approximately 15 years old.
That's correct.
You were older, and then you started working with your son, who was approximately 18 years old when you started working on these pieces. Can you talk to us a little bit about the difference of you growing up as an immigrant here in Chicago at about that age, and then having your son growing up as an American here in Chicago, and what those opportunities, the differences of opportunities that you two may have had?
Okay. Well, yes. Totally different times. You come to Chicago to a new life, to a new family. I grew up with my aunt and my uncle. I thank them very much. And right away you need to contribute to the family. You help by picking up the kids from school, helping around the house and stuff like that. And cooking dinner. I love cooking. I learned that from my aunt over the phone. She would tell me what to do and how to do it.
Un poquito, tanteale.
Un poquito. And so you grow up like that. You're very self-sufficient. we didn't have that opportunity. Where they take you to sports, they take you to to play instruments and play baseball, play basketball, other sports. No, you were pretty much on your own, whereas my son and all my kids, what do? We drive them to baseball. We drive them to all types of sports,
Completely
basketball.
different background.
Yes, piano lessons and everything else, and that's what we do. We stay on top of the kids, and we take them to these events. But there's a difference,
Yes, and we move on to talking about this difference. So I am also an immigrant. I came here in 1988. I remember the first time I saw snow. I remember the first time I saw lights. I remember crossing the border. I remember what I was wearing. I remember a coyote running back with my mother because my siblings were running up ahead. And had that coyote not run back to carry me so that we could continue to cross the border, my mother and I may have still been in Mexico. And my brother, Nick, who does our technical engineering, and my sister and my brother, Caesar, who have served this country and are now veterans, they may have been here on their own. But my father was a professional musician, and he wanted better for us. So he did this, and my mother did this. They sacrificed their lives, their siblings, their family, so that we could have this opportunity. So that I can be here and be able to help provide these platforms. Because we're all immigrants. And right now we have a president who is extremely ignorant. And they are doing extremely ignorant. And, they say you can't compare what's going on with what happened with the Nazis. But we learned that there's 9 detention centers here in Chicago that look like institutions that are helping. And they're not. Mariana Lopez, can you please talk to us about what's going on here in Chicago and what we could do to help?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Hearing that's the same story that I heard my parents tell when they crossed the border. I'm privileged to be born here in the United States, so I didn't have to go through that terrifying journey, that brave journey, and so now, I've always grown up hearing all of these stories, and I've always held them very much in my heart, and I've always had the goal to continue helping to support my parents, to do the best that I can, para que valga la pena lo que hicieron, para que valga la pena what our, communities continue to do, and then to continue nowadays with white supremacy on the rise. And yes, people I think are hesitant to call these concentration camps, are scared to call it a genocide, but it's violence that began when the Europeans first came to settle and have continued using those same tactics of separating families, of taking children when they're in the most important formative years of their lives, when their brains are developing, when they're beginning to learn about attachment, about trust, and all of that it becomes very complex, and it also becomes very damaging as children grow up, and not just for the children, for the parents, right, who also experience trauma. And trauma, especially complex trauma, has very deep and painful symptoms, and unfortunately in our society, those symptoms then become criminalized, right?
Absolutely.
Then become people become dehumanized because they're responding to trauma the way that most individuals do. And so my name is Mariana. I'm here representing INLAKESH Chicago. INLAKESH Chicago is an organization, local organization of 16 individuals of diverse ranges. Our youngest member is 21, and we all have different professional backgrounds. And this group kind of grew out of group of friends, activists from the southwest side of Chicago. And
I'm sorry not to cut you off, but we only do have about 5 minutes. So
Let's
can
go.
you please talk to us a little bit more about your affiliation with Border Resistance, how we found out that there's 9 detention centers here in Chicago, where these detentions are at, and what we can do to help?
Absolutely.
And I'm just going to share this.
Yes,
with
the organization, there's Borders on Resistance on tour, And so this is a group of autonomous mutual aid and direct action organizations that are working on the border regions of El Paso and Juarez, Tijuana, San Diego. And what this group is doing is they're going from city to city to connect and network with local organizations. So you can see the organizations that are going to be, that have been traveling. And the last stop is here in Chicago. And it would be absolutely incredible for everybody to come out. There's going to be La Voz de Abajo, a Honduran human rights group that's going to be talking about what their community is going through. And also there's going to be a lot of local organizations tabling here as well, so that we can all connect. And because right now we're in a very crucial time where we have to tie our struggles, you know, from an international to what's happening here in the in our own city. This is a system that works similarly, both internationally, locally, statewide. So the violence that we see within our neighborhoods, you know, stems from the violence that occurs and at society at greater at large. It just gets repeated in patterns. So by here coming together, talking, coming up with solutions, knowing what everybody else is doing, and networking and helping one another, we can build more people power. And so for people out there that want to help, you know, definitely come to the event, and you're going to learn about how you can help. You know, right now, giving money to legitimate organizations, you know, such as the ones that you see here. Okay, you know, helping out and mobilizing and having conversations, because these are topics that can be hard to talk about, but we have to talk about them in order to end the situation.
Communication. There is real power in communication. This is why we're here today. Because without communication, we stay ignorant. Without communication, we wouldn't have known that there's 9 detention centers here in Chicago. And where this event is happening on August 7th in Chicago, so please, Chicagoans, be there, it's in La Villita. So borderresistance.com does have events that are also going to be in our link to make sure that you attend through our website. And this is here in La Villita, and that's on 28th and...
I still don't have the right address, but if you just mark going on the Facebook event, you'll get you'll get the invite. And I also wanted to share the upcoming events for INLAKESH Chicago. So recently we just did a storytelling and yoga fundraiser, in that myself, LCSW, and a storyteller, we're going to be donating our professional services at the border with Good Neighbor Settlement House to help the refugees put together their migration story, so that they're able to petition for asylum. People are getting denied because people aren't able to tell the story, and this is a result of trauma.
This is really so, and I'm sorry, but you're going to have that information also on our website, so that you can connect directly with Mariana Lopez and get involved more and find out more about INLAKESH. So the way that I connected with Mariana Lopez, and this is again, please always follow your intuition. Don't ever doubt yourself, ever, ever, ever. So I'm working on a mural for El Valor. I'm finishing it up. We just finished it. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'm getting coffee, and I'm walking back, and there's a small protest. Extremely small. And I said, well, it must mean a lot to them that this very small group of people came out and they're screaming like there's 10,000 people listening. And it was very small. Nobody was really listening. And I come back from La Plaza, from getting my coffee here in Pilsen. And I stopped and I said, you know, nobody is listening. I want to listen to them. It looks like they worked really hard to put this event together. And that's how I learned about border resistance, by walking in my neighborhood, by stopping, by listening, by asking. And I said, hey, what's going on here? And I start listening, and I find out that there's 9 detention centers here in Chicago, in Little Village, in our neighbors. And they look like schools. They look like institutions that are here to help you, that are here to help children. And really, when you get there, they're locking these children up and medicating them. And we don't know how many children have died. They don't want to tell us. The news don't tell us. They stopped counting. But you hear it from communication, from talking with your neighbors, from talking to your people, from talking with these communities. And that is why it's so important. So please continue to have conversations. Continue to stay involved with your community. Continue to follow your intuition. Continue to stay creative. Here we have Mariana Lopez, who is a psych, right? But it's your psychology
Yes,
major?
counseling psychology. Yes.
We really applaud you for this type of work that you do. Can you just, I know we have like 1 minute, can you please give us one last word of advice that
Yeah.
you can share with us?
Absolutely. Just go to events. Go to events with local organizations. There's a lot of wonderful people organizing, mobilizing, doing direct action, and your support. Even if you can't go directly organize, you can help in other ways by sharing events, such
Social
as
media.
Yeah, social media, such
Then the
as
chismosos do something.
Eso. And we have a GoFundMe. INLAKESH has a GoFundMe. We have a big fundraiser party, so people are gonna have fun. Instead of like going to the gentrifying bar, like come and have drinks that are all your donations are gonna go directly to helping our community. So
that's what's
party with
up.
us on the 10th. We're gonna be at the 1213 Center with INLAKESH.
We'll be sure to have that information for you, but we look forward to seeing you this week on the 7th in La Villita. Thank you so much for being with you.
Thank you.
With
Thank you
us.
so
Thank you
much.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Gracias. Adios.